Hello and welcome to today's lesson. I'm your hard-working but indefatigable teacher, Mr. Burton. You will need to watch this video and take notes as you go. You may need to watch certain parts of the video a few times to ensure complete understanding. This is your homework and I will check your notes tomorrow before we get started. I hope you learned something.
Okay, hello and welcome to today's lesson. Today we are into our fourth and final installment in this marketing mix. So we've been looking at 4 P's. We've done product, price and promotion, and here we're on the 4th one, place.
Show me.
And place is all about getting our product to the customer. Channel of distribution
channels. Distribution channels are the means by which businesses get products to their consumers. Distribution involves links in a chain of distribution as products are sold between different businesses en route to the final consumer. There are 3 main types of distribution channel. 1. Direct to the consumer. 2. To the consumer via retailers. 3. To the consumer via wholesalers and retailers. Let me say a little about each of these. Firstly, direct. Niche products with relatively low volume sales are often sold direct. Direct sales could be made online, through mail order, or through shops owned by the manufacturer. Businesses selling direct do not rely on shops or other intermediaries to sell their product. Well-known examples of businesses that sell direct to the consumer are Direct Line, Insurance, and Dell, Computers. Distribution via retailers. Large retailers often purchase goods from manufacturers and sell on to consumers. This method of distribution is sometimes called modern distribution. Products reach consumers via one intermediary. Large retailers have enough buying power to negotiate bulk discount prices with producers. The producer benefits by being able to concentrate primarily on making the product without needing complicated distribution systems to supply thousands or millions of customers. Producers just distribute to a much smaller number of retailers. Distribution via wholesalers and retailers. This type of distribution channel involves at least 2 intermediaries, wholesalers and retailers. This is sometimes called traditional distribution. Wholesalers are businesses that purchase in considerable bulk from producers and then sell smaller batches to many different retail businesses. For instance, independently owned convenience grocery stores and pet shops usually buy their stock from wholesalers. Using wholesalers is an effective way for manufacturers to get products stocked in small retail businesses without having the transport costs involved in making small deliveries to each of them. What factors will influence which method of distribution is chosen? Decisions are influenced by the cost of distribution, the nature of the market, and the extent to which the producer wishes to control how products are marketed. As already mentioned, an advantage to producers of using wholesalers and larger retailers is that far fewer deliveries need to be made than would be needed if the delivery was straight to the consumer. This reduces the cost of distribution. On the other hand, each intermediary involved in the chain of distribution seeks to make a profit. The purchase price that retailers and wholesalers pay is inevitably less than the price that producers might charge if they were selling direct to the consumer. If customers are prepared to come to a factory shop or some other outlet controlled by the producer, then direct selling might look attractive. A classic example of this is the pick-your-own fruit farm. High-volume mass-market products have to be sold often to a very large number of customers. There's no such thing as a local toothpaste manufacturer, for instance. The market for this sort of goods is national or possibly international. For that reason, it usually makes sense to distribute mass-market products through retailers. On the other hand, If a market has a smaller number of customers, direct distribution becomes more feasible. Producers of industrial goods like aeroplanes or industrial robots may seriously consider direct distribution because they have a small number of customers. Getting these products to the consumer is in some ways far less complex than delivering consumer goods to millions of people. Whenever a producer uses an intermediary to sell its products, it's handing a degree of control over promotion and price to the intermediary. This may be to the advantage of the producer. Being stocked in an established national retail chain can mean that the product is well promoted. On the other hand, the way that an intermediary, like a retailer, markets a product may not suit the producer. For some producers, only direct distribution provides them with the control over marketing that they seek. So, to sum up, distribution channels are the means by which businesses get products to their consumers. There are three main types of distribution channel: direct, via retailers, via wholesalers and retailers. Decisions made about how a product is distributed are influenced by the cost of distribution, the nature of the market, and the extent to which the producer wishes to control marketing. You might like to try this activity. Suggest, with reasons, the best way to distribute the following products: A. Double-decker buses, B. Washing powder, C. Herbal remedies for dogs. To find out more, visit learnloads.com.
Okay, a great little introduction to Place, specifically the channel of distribution, which is really what Place is all about, how the producer gets the product to the customer. So the channel of distribution, the definition is a chain of intermediaries a product passes through from producer to final consumer.
Show me.
And the choice of distribution channel is important to the manufacturer for several reasons. One of these being that consumers may need access to the firm's product to allow them to try before they buy, to make purchasing easy and to allow if necessary for the return of goods. So if that is the case, say for a shoe shop, perhaps clothing shop, then direct to the consumer is probably not the best option. Manufacturers are going to need outlets for their products that give them a wide market coverage as possible, but it's necessary that the desired image of the product be promoted appropriately. Retailers, they're the firms that sell goods to the final consumer. Retailers are going to demand a markup to cover their costs, so they might buy their good in for a certain amount of the manufacturer and then charge a 50%, 20%, 100% markup, etc. to cover up the costs and make a profit. So if price is really important, using few or no intermediaries would be an advantage there.
Show me.
Right, intermediaries, we've talked about them a little bit so far. Let's go and define them. Intermediaries are individuals or businesses making it possible for the product to go from the manufacturer to the end user, and they essentially facilitate that sales process. A chain of intermediaries, a product passes through from producer to final consumer. This is a distribution channel. Now, as we saw in the video, there are a couple. We'll start with the two intermediary channel, manufacturer to wholesaler to retailer to consumer. Two intermediary channels, two agents there between the manufacturer and the consumer. A wholesaler is an intermediary entity in the distribution channel that buys in bulk and then will sell to resellers rather than to consumers. The single intermediary channel, we've only got one entity now between the manufacturer and the consumer. So a single intermediary channel involves manufacturer to the retailer and then from the retailer to the consumer. Manufacturer produces a good, sells it to the retailer, and then the retailer sells it on to the consumer. And direct selling to consumer, There's zero intermediary channel. There's no one between the manufacturer or the service provider and the consumer. Zero intermediaries, sometimes called the zero channel.
Show me.
Choosing the most appropriate distribution channel is a big decision.
Tourist destination in Auburn Hills, Michigan is showing visitors the difficulties life held for Americans in the past. Blockbuster Video aims to transport visitors to a time before the internet. There's an historically authentic recreation of a video store, a specialty shop where customers exchanged money for the short-term use of videos in an archaic system called renting.
The tour is amazing. It's like stepping into a time machine. It's hard to believe that people live this way.
A historical research team spent 3 years making sure every last detail was accurate, from the signs used to promote the store's merchandise to the costumes worn by the store's employees, historical performers who make history come alive for tour groups twice an hour.
My character is based on an actual Blockbuster employee named Jerome, who worked there from May of 1999 to June 2000. My main responsibilities are to man the cash register and to put the movies from the return slot back onto the shelves.
I am a Blockbuster customer named Kathy. 2 times a week, I travel 6 miles to rent and return videos. Oh, look, we're in the comedy section. What's so poignant about this time is the uncertainty. When you get to the Blockbuster, are they going to have your video? Did someone else rent it? Is there going to be a line? Are the alarms going to sound when you walk out the front door? It was very difficult for the people that lived during this era.
Actors say their job is to create a historically authentic experience.
Yes, we have it, but our only copy is currently checked out.
After the organized tour, visitors are allowed to move around the store, exploring the so-called living museum.
It's really amazing that people had to go through so much just to get a movie.
Blockbuster joins a growing number of historical tourism sites, including Buffalo, New York's recreation of Virgin Records Music Store and Iowa City's Borders Bookstore Museum.
Place is quite often overlooked in the marketing mix. It's treated as secondary, but place is so important. Netflix is cleaning up in the video market because it dominated the place. It got the place right. People didn't want to travel to rent a video. People just wanted to turn on the TV, flick a button, and be able to watch whatever they wanted, when they wanted. Right, choosing the appropriate distribution channel. Recent trends in distribution: the increased use of the internet for direct selling of goods and services. For example, in the service sector, this can be seen with internet banking, direct selling of insurance policies online. Large supermarket chains perform the function of wholesalers as well as retailers, so that wholesale and retailing components are combined. They hold their own stocks in their own central warehouses, and by owning another link in the distribution chain, the business is engaged in vertical marketing. They're reducing their costs and their profit margins are able to be increased as a result. Also, businesses are increasingly using a variety of distribution channels. So, for example, an ice cream manufacturer may have its own ice cream vans selling directly to consumers, and they will supply retailers directly. Hotels may sell room accommodation directly through their websites over the telephone, and they'll also use travel agents and holiday companies. Agents are a business with the authority to act on behalf of another firm, for example, to market its products. There's also an increasing integration of services where a complete package is being sold to consumers. So if we take flights, car hire, hotels, now insurance, all that can be sold or distributed to consumers at the same time.
Show me.
Direct selling. Direct selling to the consumer, from the manufacturer to the consumer. Now, no intermediaries here, and examples are mail order from the manufacturer, airline tickets and hotel accommodations sold online, by those companies. Farmers markets, where small-scale farmers will take their products and sell them directly to consumers. Benefits. There are no intermediaries, so there's going to be no markup or profit margin taken by other businesses. The producer's got complete control over the marketing mix. That's how the product is sold, promoted and priced to consumers. It's faster than other channels. If you're in the fresh food business, it can lead to fresher food products. And you get direct contact with your consumers, which gives you a useful insight into the consumer. So it's great for on-the-spot market research. But limitations: all the storage, all the stock costs have to be paid for by the manufacturer. There are no real retail outlet limits, which limits the chance for customers to see and try the good before they buy it. So it may not be very convenient for the consumer. There's no advertising or promotion paid for by an intermediary, and no after-sales service offered by the shops. And especially important, it can be expensive to deliver each item sold to consumers.
Show me.
The single intermediary channel. So this is the one that goes from manufacturer to retail to consumer. Examples: holiday companies selling holidays via travel agents, large supermarkets that hold their own stocks rather than using wholesalers, and where the whole country can be reached using a one-level route, so a single agent in a small country. Now retail, the advantages here: retailers hold stocks and they pay for the cost of this. The retailer has product displays and offers after-sales service, and retailers are often in locations that are convenient to consumers. Producers can also focus on the production. They can specialize, so they won't be selling the products to consumers. They specialize on manufacturing and then getting their product into the shops. Limitations: intermediaries take a profit markup, which makes it more expensive to the final consumer, and if it's more expensive to the final consumer, there's going to be a decrease in demand. The higher the price, the less demand. Producers are going to lose some control over the marketing mix, and retailers may sell products from competitors too, so perhaps there is no exclusive outlet. The producer has delivery costs to the retailers.
Show me.
The two intermediary channel. So here we have the extended place: manufacturer to wholesaler to retailer, finally to our consumer. Now the strategy perhaps is a wholesaler buys goods from the producer, they then sell to the retailer, and in a large country, great distances to each retailer, many consumer goods are distributed this way: soft drinks, toothpaste, electrical goods and books. Benefits: the wholesaler holds goods and buys in bulk from the producer, reduces the cost there, reduces stock holding costs of the producer. Wholesalers pay for transport costs to the retailer. Wholesaler will break the bulk by buying in large quantities and selling to retailers in small quantities. And this may be the best way to enter foreign markets, where the producer has no direct contact with retailers, no connections, no history. Limitations: it's another intermediary, and each intermediary in the supply chain channel of distribution is going to take a profit markup, and again it's another added cost which will be added on to the price that is charged to the consumer. The higher the price, the less demand. Also, the producer loses further control over the marketing mix, and it slows down the distribution chain.